Ravens beat the Bengals in the overtime shootout 41-38. Lamar Jackson threw for 348 yards, 4 touchdowns. Joe Burrow threw for 392 yards, 5 touchdowns. But he had that one blemish. He had an interception. Keys, you were there live in person. Start with you.
Yeah, man, it was a good time. That's the first important thing. It was a good time. Shout out to the Bengal fans. Everybody up there was cool. Wasn't nobody acting crazy.
So you had to take that walk that they talked. Did they take the practice? You took that same walk?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
No, absolutely not. That's no, absolutely not. But no, to talk about the game. I mean, it's one of them instant, ESPN Classic games. That drink can go down as a top 10, top 15 game of all time. It was that type of game, just big play after big play. We've seen two quarterbacks at the top of their games pretty much. The game set defense back about 50 years, but other than that, you saw two quarterbacks at the top of that game. Burrow, big play. Lamar comes back with big play. So hopefully we can put the narrative to sleep that he can't play from behind or like that. I mean, he's shown that he's definitely a thrower of the football. Yeah, it was just good to see. It was good to see that they switched their game plan. They was really, really run heavy against the Cowboys, which you had to do because their run defense is trash. That's what you're supposed to do. And now this defense, they the type of defense that the Bengals were playing, they were stuffing the box. They wasn't gonna let Henry get off. They wasn't gonna let Lamar get off, whatever. So the Ravens had to throw the ball, and he did that very, very well. It was good to see him, all the targets that he got involved pretty much. It was everybody. Kolar, I think Kolar is a blend of both of them put together. When you that big, you that strong, you run that fast, I think you should get more targets, which I think they found in them. So no, it was good to see. It was good to see that, we always talk about the best throwers of the Mahomes, the Burrows, and all. It was good to see Lamar Jackson go toe for toe with that. And everybody in there understands, even the Bengals fans recognize like Lamar's one of those ones. They love Joe. Of course, they love Joe. They think Joe's the best degrees ever, but nobody was saying nothing bad about Lamar. Not one bad thing was said about him. And I think he's went out and proven that he is the guy. He is a GOAT. And it was an MVP performance. We're gonna talk about the play later in the show, but it was definitely an MVP performance. But not to take enough away for the Bengals. Like I said, Joe Burrow he's one of those ones too. Like he could literally make any throw from any angle, any position. People are on his feet, people are on his arms. He has that type of arm strength. He has that quick release. There's times when I thought the Ravens were sacking him, and he literally would just getting the ball out of the drop it down, and he's accurate as hell. Like he doesn't miss. And granted, it helps that he has T. Higgins and Jamal Chase. He has Tyler Boyd, before now, before that. But he's a very accurate quarterback. He's a very talented quarterback. But I don't know where the Bengals go for it because, like I said, we're gonna talk about the Ravens defense all day, but their defense is trash. Like they can't stop anything. They can't do anything. They can't do anything. They was constantly out of position. Getting the calls in late, they wasn't lining up. I don't know who has the ring out, but they were just a mess all day. And Lamar took advantage of them. He literally took advantage of them. The Ravens were snapping the ball. Half of the time, the Bengals weren't lined up. They just weren't lined up. They were still running, trying to get in position. They were still talking to each other, and the ball was being snapped. And I think that's what happened with the fumbles, where Lamar was moving so fast sometimes, or whatever, that's what happened because the Bengals weren't lined up. He had him, on the play where Ronnie Stanley decided to look back and not block. That was a touchdown. It's just that Ronnie Stanley didn't block. So that's what the fumbles came. The fumbles came down to not so much that Lamar was he was rushing because the Bengals weren't lined up. He had him for a big play, which was the constant theme all game. They just could not get lined up. Whereas the Ravens on defense, I think it just came from poor tackling, which it always happens to Bengals poor tackling. I think they need to change the type of scheme they run. I think they try to stay vanilla with Joe Burrow. They play too much zone with Joe Burrow. You can't do that, man. It's literally eating them alive. So I don't know where this defense go from here, but you're not going to win the championship with that defense. That defense is poor. It's really bad. It's horrible. Your quarterback pretty much got to be Superman in order for you to win a game like that when your defense literally couldn't stop anything, nothing. Your quarterback got to get a play and you give up a 70-yard touchdown to Chase because your $20 million linebacker takes the wrong angle. That's bad football. You can't allow that to happen. And just like Nick said, if it wasn't for Lamar Jackson, the Ravens would have lost that game by a lot of points, man. No, that defense was bad. or it has to be better. It has to be some type of adjust. They literally made no adjustments, no bump and run, none of that. They were just letting them come off the ball. They couldn't stop. The red zone defense is the worst I ever seen. Couldn't stop in the red zone. It wasn't like the Bengals was running anything special. They were just getting off the ball and running. So yeah, that defense has to be fixed. It has to be fixed. But yeah, that's what I take it for. I just took it was just a great game. It was a game. Jackson was going back and forth. It was a real treat to see.
Yeah, I mean that was an awesome game, man. I totally agree as far as the sentiment that it was one of the classic games I've witnessed. I mean, as far as Raven games specifically, it had to been top 5, top 10 games that I've watched. And divisional for game, the first divisional game of the year, big game on the road. I love the way that the team fought. The team stuck together regardless of what was going on, regardless of the barrage of points we allowed to be scored. And, Jamar Chase, a lot of teams, they would see what Chase was doing on the other side of the field and probably would get discouraged or just feel like this isn't our day. But we kept fighting, we kept coming back, and we always kept ourselves in the game. So again, it's one of those situations where the defense didn't do our job or do their job, but the offense is actually able to score points, so it didn't matter. Joe Burrow made some great throws, had some pressure in his face, was able to throw off his back foot a lot, make some great throws in tight windows. But again, he's a very good quarterback. My issue with Joe Burrow was the top 3 talks, and he's the better than Lamar talks. It's not enough. It's not enough that he's doing that's impacting his team that's allowing him to be put over people like Lamar and people that are literally, going into the playoffs year after year, aren't getting injured year after year, so on and so forth. And I don't want to, he quarterbacks a 1-14. Like, people get slandered for less. You know what I mean? The Ravens are ranked 31st in the NFL in pass defense, so it didn't take much to carve us up. 392 yards, 5 passing touchdowns, absolutely unacceptable. Jamar Chase, he went on 1,000-yard receiving yesterday, and 2 touchdowns. He had a whole career yesterday. It was unbelievable. Nate Wiggins, he only played 31% of the snaps. Not going to rag on him too much, but he did play 86% of the snaps last week against Buffalo. So again, styles makes fights. He was credited with 2 catches allowed for 51 yards. Marlon Humphrey, persevered throughout the game. He was getting cooked though. Gave up a catch on all 5 of his targets for 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brandon Stevens was credited with 7 catches on 8 targets for 61 yards. And the highest graded person yesterday in the secondary was Kyle Hamilton, and the lowest graded person was Marcus Williams. So that just tells you how our secondary played yesterday. So we can give Joe Burrow credit for sure, but we didn't play well at all. And like you said, I mean, that's going to have to change. I mean, that type of defense isn't going to be a championship level defense when the game slows down in January and February. So we're going to have to figure out what to do there, being that we have put a lot of financial resources into the defense, into that secondary specifically, and we expect results. To the offenses, shout out to everybody on offense. Shout out to that offensive line. I think we found a combination that's clicking, so no need to change it. When Voorhees is back, left guard, we have Macari at left guard, Rosengarten at right tackle. Let's just keep it like this. I'm cool with how we are able to move the ball. If you notice, Zay Flowers is actually running routes now. He's actually like a wide receiver again. Like they let him go 20, 25 yards down the field, and he's making plays. And that was great to see. They did stop our run or limit it as much as they could, and we had to pivot, especially once we started trailing. And once we started trailing, we flipped that switch and became a team that could throw the ball and spread it out more. And I love to see it. Zay Flowers, 7 catches, 111 yards, multiple 20-yard catches. He was great, to get the pass game going. I mean, it was a really balanced passing attack. If you just look at the way Lamar was able to spread the ball and give people their targets. Charlie Kolar, 4 targets, 3 catches, 64 yards and a tud. Bateman, 8 targets, 4 catches, 58 yards and a tud. Mark Andrews, 5 targets, 4 catches, 55 yards, so on and so forth. Even Tylan Wallace made a play. So I think the story yesterday was Lamar Jackson. That was the best I've ever seen him play. And I've seen Lamar Jackson play for 7 seasons now, win 2 MVPs. That game yesterday was the most confident and assured I've ever seen him play. He never got too down on himself. Every time there was some adversity, he just looked at his teammates and said, let's go. And he went out the next drive and he backed up everything that he said. You know what I mean? So I have nothing to say about offense right now. Obviously, we're not where we want to be at any stretch, and we can talk about John Harbaugh. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. I just want to say that was a great win, and I was so happy watching Lamar Jackson play yesterday, and that was amazing.
Yeah, no, facts. Proud to be a Ravens fan. After that dub yesterday, I think y'all covered it well, like y'all always do. But I can't say it enough about Lamar Jackson and just that performance yesterday. I think a lot of it had to do that pace. Like that, they picked up that pace, and for whatever reason, it just had Lamar on go. Obviously, they were down, so they had to score quick. But that heightened, that up-tempo offense, it seemed like he seemed to thrive in it yesterday. And so, big play, Derrick Henry closing the game out in overtime with a big-time run. That's why he's here. Obviously, you saw when we were down 10 to start the fourth quarter, who was in the game. We've talked about it. It was Justice Hill. What can you do with Derrick Henry at that junction in the game? But you get the game close enough and he's able to come in and close with a big-time run in overtime. That's what you got to do. I kind of been on Zach Orr since early on this season, but we 5 weeks in now and it's still not looking – this defense still – they just giving up too much. I mean, a screen pass to Jamar Chase, which should be like a 3-4 yard pass, he takes to the house. I'm sure we'll talk about the touchdown pass to Jamar Chase before halftime, and a lot of that was on coaching. Maybe they shouldn't have even had the ball. But that's neither here nor there. Marcus Williams looks terrible. Looks like a waste of money, waste of time. Who else was it yesterday? Malik Harrison. I've almost seen enough of that as well. I thought week 1 was enough, honestly. But another one who we need more production from. And so Brandon Stevens, I mean, they left him on the island yesterday. They ain't really doing him no favors, to be honest with you. But
it's a contract year for him, right?
Nah, he don't want no contract.
He's not.
He might not want it this year.
He don't want no contract.
Might not want it this year.
He's not the guy. He's definitely not the guy.
Want it this year. But your 3 tight ends came to play yesterday. Kolar, Mark Andrews got back in the mix, made some catches. Isaiah likely can't speak enough about him and his jump ball, like his ability to pinpoint the ball at his highest point. Like he's just, you could tell he probably used to hoop and grab rebounds for real. Like he was a double type guy. Like that's what you need. Just somebody who's going to go out there and make plays, and you can tell Lamar trust him. Throwing that ball out of bounds like that, up in the air like that, across your body essentially. I mean, granted, it was Geno Stone there. I'm throwing it at him too, but that's a play. That's a play, and that's what you want.
Geno was in trouble technique all day yesterday.
But yeah, they had the Bengals defense is not what it's been in years past. But I mean, Lamar 9-1 now against the Bengals. I think we can put the Joe first, Lamar talk the rest. I think we already knew what that was, but Barrows had a good game too. And I mean, if he doesn't throw that pick to Marlon late, I mean, they got every chance to potentially win that game too. I don't think his team did him no favors by being conservative in overtime and just running the ball 3 straight times. But hey,
Keys, what was the vibe in the stadium? Because I'm watching it and I'm shocked that they was just trying to set up a field goal instead of at least trying to get to the 20.
Yeah, they were very, very upset. They wanted Zach to throw the ball. They didn't like to conserve. They don't trust the kicker. I think they said he missed a kick early shift to tie a game. He did something else. The guy, some Bengals fan was telling me in another game, they didn't trust the kicker. They said it was too long of a field goal. They just did. They don't like Zach Taylor anyway. Like I think all of us feel the same way about our coaches. That they just think, but they definitely don't like Zach Taylor at all.
CBS showed a graphic that he had made like 14 or 15 straight fourth quarter and overtime field goals. So I don't.
That's when you know they about to miss.
That's I mean, hey, thank you for jinxing them. But at the same token, did the Bengals fans like Joe Burrow throwing in the fourth quarter with a few minutes?
That's
the reason we won.
I told them that they should have just ran the ball and set up for the field. I mean, you playing. This is what you do. Like the kicker is a kicker for a reason. He should be able to make a 53-yard field, a 51-yard field goal. He would have. It wasn't his fault that they dropped this. They dropped it. It wasn't his fault. He missed the kick. Yeah. Right. I mean, they just wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, but at the same time, it was the right play. It was good coaching to run the ball there. You don't want to risk on another interception. Then what happened? You know?
Yeah, I think that's the only reason why they were semi-conservative, because being conservative probably would have won them the game to begin with. So he's probably trying to correct it. Mm-hmm. But we should have never put them in that position. That fumble.
Yeah, that shit was deflating, because you knew everybody knew the game was over. Then that shit happened, and it just this game a whole bunch of life. It just gave him a whole bunch of life. But then he took the crowd out of the game. When, like I said, when he got conservative after the fumble recovery, he got took the crowd out of the game. So it didn't help them. But yeah, to your point about he was picking and choosing. Like they were after Dax Hill went down, it was over for them. They already was short. Mike Hill wasn't playing. And once Dak Hill went out with the ACL in the first quarter, it was done. They literally had no type of defense. They have no linebackers. I don't know who their linebackers are. They literally have no linebackers. They have no cornerbacks. Like I said, this is a defense that could have had Bates and Battle back there, but they had to pay Joe, and now they got to pay Jamar a bigger bag. He's going to get more money now. They messed up by not giving him the extension or whatever he wanted. But was it a dollar or whatever, $10 more than Justice Jefferson? Like, this is what Jamar Chase can do. Like, he literally was the best player on the field besides Lamar. He literally was the best player on the field. He is that.
It must be nice, man. You got all that and you 1-4. Jesus.
Right. Like, he is that. So yeah. It's not. I mean, they 1-4 because they as a team they just suck. Like, there's no way. They can't put three phases together. They are a bad football team.
We can't either.
You're right. We just got Lamar. I mean, we just
got Lamar. That's the difference.
I don't know. Honestly, that game. I think
our special teams is ass too.
I think God was the football gods looking down because Lamar was just so special yesterday. But I don't. That game. Both teams lost that game 3-4 different times. Before it actually came down to what it was.
Now Joe had us in a blender, like all trolling. Well, not even trolling, but all narrative aside, I guess. Joe had us in a blender, man. That Joe and Jamar Chase connection, man. I don't know who to liken it to, but it's up there as far as top.
It's like Peyton and Marvin Harrison, though.
They keep going.
That shit is like that.
I was about to say Dante and Randy Moss, but I didn't want to disrespect Joe by saying Dante, but it just seems as unstoppable as that, or Tom Brady and maybe it's Tom Brady and Randy.
When they see Marlon Humphrey and Brandon Stevens lined up against across from them, dog, it's like Thanksgiving dinner for them, dog.
Yeah,
like they just was running past them. Like they literally were just lining up. The Ravens were playing. They wasn't even playing bumper run. They were off coverage and they were just running past them every single time.
Last 2 weeks, all I've seen in like the back of my thoughts were like the back of Brandon Stevens' jersey. Like I'm sick of saying 20. Like, first of all the 21s that have worn that number in Baltimore history. Why does he have number 21? Like, usually 21 means you ready to shut shit down.
When he went on that 70-yard touchdown, literally everybody thought the game was over, dog. Like, that shit was crazy. And then when this happened, it gave him. When this happened, it was like,
now Sco, that's how you quarterback.
The Bengals fans, when this happened, the Bengals fans like, all right, now listen.
You gotta be thinking scary hours after that, yo. I almost want the neighborhood up.
The Bengals fans,
I turned Super Saiyan.
They not really bad fans because they ain't never won nothing.
I was powering up in the crib.
You gotta win to be an angry fan, like to really know how to talk trash. So they don't really know how to talk trash. They never won nothing. So it's like they never won nothing. So it's like they nice because they never won nothing. I can tell. So
they just happy to be
they just happy to be and they don't talk about like boom enough like that. When you talk to a Steelers fan, even a Browns fan, you'll talk about the old days. Their history is Joe Burrow, dog. Like, they don't talk about anything. They don't even talk about Ocho or nothing like that.
Like, damn, what about Carson Palmer?
Yeah, Carson Palmer. Yeah,
no John Kitna. Like
Joe Burrow, like this. These are the best athletes they didn't have. They feel like, and now they never had a Super Bowl window. Is what I'm saying. Like, this is their Super Bowl window, and it's closing, and they know that.
I saw.
So it was like,
yeah,
they have rings.
Right. So
yeah, they did.
So it's like they don't know how to really be angry or really be like talk trash. Like I said, it's different when you talk to a Steelers fan. They can talk shit. They know how to win. The Bengals ain't never won nothing.
So being as though y'all are talking a little different these days. So what's y'all confidence level now compared to after the Raiders game?
I mean, to get a win like that in that environment and to come out like that, you it got to be high. You just don't want your head coach, man. Like calling that timeout before the first half was ridiculous. Like that made no sense. It really made no sense, and it was borderline. Like you need to be fired. You don't need to come back out after halftime. And once again, Lamar saved him. But you gotta be that confidence high. I mean, you got another big game. You got Jay Daniels coming in, but your confidence high after you beat the Bills at home, and then you go on a road and win your first AFC North. After, especially, I guess my point is after starting 0-2 and you now 3-2, your confidence is very high.
Yeah, I'm at like a 7 score. Mainly because I'm trying to stay grounded in the moment. The 3 straight victories, and mainly the Bills. Well, actually, I can include Cowboys in there because they were a playoff team last year and they have a winning record now. So it's not like that. Like we might know like what the Cowboys are going to be long term, but they're still a team that's going to win 10 to 12 games. So if I include the Cowboys, Bills, and Bengals, we've beaten 3, teams that have pedigree. I'll say. I can't even call the Bengals a good team because of their record, but they have pedigree and they have playmakers. So, I do feel good after these wins, but there's some concerning signs that won't let me push it to an 8, 9, or 10. That defense, the pass defense, again, I don't know what the answer is or the magical elixir because the secondary is not supposed to be a weakness. Do you know how much money we pay Marcus Williams?
Going into the season, I think everybody agreed that was supposed to be the strength.
They know they're supposed to be the strength. Marlon Humphrey told them in a pregame speech I saw, let's be who we're supposed to be, the strength for the team. They know they're supposed to be the strength for the team.
Listen, they are not, and we're gonna have to get that together because a lot is relying on them and their play. And yes, we do have Superman, and again, the game plan all season has been Lamar save us or Lamar please, and that's exactly what he's done. But to expect that out your quarterback every week is just the same as like when you have a good defense and you're expecting the defense to carry the offense. It's the exact same on the inverse. Like we cannot be allowing people to do this to us on defense. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, as much as I would love Tate Adams here, I think you need to go get a cornerback, dog. We can't survive with. I mean, Nate may be good eventually, but he's a rookie and he's gonna have his thing. And we know what Brandon Stevens is, and Marlon Humphrey's old, so they need to go get a cornerback bad, or it's gonna be like this. Once you have a decent quarterback with a decent receiver, you don't have to be above average. Like you see what happened when they superstars like the Bengals have at the weapon position. If you have above average, you're gonna get taken advantage of. That's what's going to happen. I mean, the secondary has been bad for a couple years now. I mean, Mike got it together before he left, but the same holes that were happening 2-3 years ago, they back open now.
Yeah, I'm about to say, so my confidence meter, I'm at like a 7.5, 8. I mean, you got the Commanders coming up at home, then you got to go to the Bucks on Monday night, then the Browns on the road. So that's your next 3 games. All 3 of them very winnable. So I think you just got to take it a game at a time.
That Bucks game's gonna be tough if the secondary gonna play like this.
Yeah, Mike Evans.
We can definitely beat them, don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
we can't allow Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to do what. Listen, I might have PTSD at this point. Like Jamar Chase shit is crazy.
No, he really did.
He been doing that since his rookie year,
and he does that to us a lot.
Yeah, he does that to us. He a Raven killer.
Yeah,
I guess he's the new AJ Green. Yeah,
AJ Green on steroids.
Well, AJ Green used to. AJ Green. He used to kill
in y'all season. Like AJ Green used to do it at the damn, you really just playoff hope's gone. Brandon Stevens, we spoke about him. I asked for a reason if this is a contract year. Is this his last year in Baltimore?
I mean, they may give him a
How do you want it to be? I know y'all probably
I mean, if you're gonna bring in a number 1, he can be our number 2. But for us I think they try to mold him. Even I was on he's the number 1 cornerback path, but no, he's not. And I mean, if they're gonna bring in somebody else, but he can't be the guy that's sticking their number 1 receiver. It just doesn't work. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, you never want to have your cornerback be one of your leading tacklers in a game. I don't want my cornerback to be a tackler. I want him to be a shutdown artist. and he had 9 tackles yesterday. So that just tells you what his job was. It was a lot of trailing, running after people and trying to tackle them 20, 30 yards down the field. The thing about Brandon is he does what he does do well. He does really well, but it's just not enough of things that he does well to cover up the things that he doesn't do well. And teams aren't stupid, and they're taking advantage. And we have this false confidence that we can put him in one-on-one coverage, or he can guard teams' best receivers, and clearly that's not his game. So we're going to have to, when we're talking about scheme and strategy, we're going to have to figure out ways in which we can mix up our coverages to allow some of these cornerbacks to have some help. But when you do that, you got to also worry about the seam and Roquan Smith guarding tight ends and guarding big wide receivers in the slot. Just coverage in general has been bad. So it might be scheme, Keith, to your point about because we're not putting these players in the best position to succeed. They can't be this bad. Like last year, we saw them play at a higher level, and I'm talking about the individual players I've named. We've seen those particular players play at a higher level in a different scheme, different coaching system. So maybe it's strategy. I don't know.
Did we talk about Or yet?
Not yet.
Not at length, pause. But if since we're here, I don't want to say place blame, but is it questions about him 5 weeks in? And if so, how big are those questions?
I mean, I think it has to be questions. Like you said in the question, your offense has the most points in the league right now, and yet you still in these tight games like you brought yesterday, giving up big plays. Like these aren't methodical drives; these are chunk plays. So to chase yesterday, big chunk plays. Like, and you giving it up. You gave it up against the Raiders. You gave up chunk plays against the Chiefs with Worthy. Like you giving up too many big plays, explosive plays, and like that 31 other teams lose yesterday, probably. Maybe 30 other teams lose that game yesterday, probably. The way that the defense was playing with a regular quarterback, nobody was winning that game yesterday. So a lot of it got to fall on Orr.
I really don't know what to make out of him, other than it's his first time calling plays. But I can't even give him that bail because Zach Robinson in Atlanta, he had never been a play caller his whole entire coaching career. So week one against the Steelers, he had a horrible game plan and it showed. What did he do? He adjusted. He evolved. He grew. He learned from mistakes. Didn't repeat them the next week. They said, you don't have Kirk Cousins running play action and playing under center. What is he doing now? Under center, running play action. So I say that to say, Zach Orr, I mean, it's been 5 weeks. When are we going to see adjustments? When are we going to see you learn and grow and evolve from mistakes? I mean, we can't keep having these splash plays occur week after week after week. It happened in the Cowboys game too. The only time it didn't happen was against the Bills, and they don't have any explosive players. You know what I mean? Not one. So, I mean, James Cook, if you want to talk running backs, I'm talking about weapons, though. They don't have any explosions. But, people like Devontae Adams, Brock Bowers, Xavier Worthy, you know what I mean? Who did we play last week? Rasheed Rice, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. You know what I mean? Anytime there's somebody on the other side of the field that comes with some pedigree, we seem to have problems with them. And that's the opposite of what we want. We want our defensive coordinator to take the big players out of the game plan. I'd rather somebody else beat me than Jamar Chase put up 202 on me.
Yeah, I think he's still, like you said, Zach Taylor, he caught on. I think or he still don't have a feel. He don't know when to be aggressive or not to be aggressive. And it might be some personnel issues. Like I said, these cornerbacks, man, they got to improve their cornerback run. We thought it was a strength, but it's not. It's definitely not. They can't defend. They can't. They really can't. It was ugly.
Marcus Williams is giving us some of the worst safety play in the league.
Yeah, I said Geno Stone in trail technique. Marcus Williams is the trail definition of trail technique.
Harbaugh says he feels Marcus is on the cusp or on the brink of making several big plays. I'm like, nigga, where?
He played too much football not to make. He paying too much money. He playing too much, too many snaps to be on the brink. If he's going to do that, he needs to make the plays.
The only thing he on the verge of is the great finesse. That's it. Finessing us out of all that paper for subpar play.
And again, it goes back to Orr versus McDonald, because McDonald, I mean, he had Geno Stone looking all world,
right.
Marcus Williams looking all world. All these players, Brandon Stevens had us thinking that he could be a physical shutdown corner. All these players look a lot better under a different scheme than they do currently, and that's a problem. So part of coaching is not just your philosophy, but how do you bend your philosophy with your personnel? You have to coach your players, not this grandiose idea of what you want on the football field. You got to coach the people that are in your room and get the most out of them. So that's Zach's next challenge. I'm trying to be fair and give him bail, but it's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah, I'm about to say Rex Ryan been saying since week 1 that Zach Orr coaching out of another man's playbook. So I think part of that is Zach gonna, you said, he's gonna have to find his own niche. He's gonna have to find what works for him. What worked for Mike McDonald and his calls last year don't work for this defense. It's not the same defense.
There's no feel. I agree with that, because he has no feel. It's like, why are you blitzing in it? This is not a blitzing situation. Why are you dropping back right now? This is not a drop back situation. That's what I got yesterday. Like he don't understand what part of the game, what part of the field he's in. He just, I think it's, and like you said, we're gonna give him a little bit of bail because it's gonna come with experience. But it do seem like somebody else is calling his plays for him.
Yeah, and that's the issue with this that I have is, usually when you try to take somebody else's playbook or somebody else's principles and grow upon them or reuse them, they're not as good. The results aren't as good as the original person. You know what I mean? How many times have we seen like a Patriots coach? You know what I mean? Learn the Patriot way and learn under Belichick. And then they take those principles and they just doesn't translate. In this situation, he's going to have his own principles, have his own ideas, and they're going to have to be high-level ideas. Everybody can have an idea. They're going to have to be great ideas, and they're going to have to be able to be executed. It was always a risk hiring somebody, not from within, but someone that just wasn't, the resume wasn't as like somebody like Anthony Weaver, I think, was a little bit more ready to be a DC. But again, he got poached by Miami, and there were several other coaches that got poached. So Zach Orr wasn't like the first choice, but it was a great story as far as promoting from within, former players, so on and so forth. But that honeymoon phase is over, bro. This defense can't be getting worked like this. I mean, it's nasty. It's disgusting.
Yeah, you talk about Lamar Jr., who everybody call him now, coming in Sunday. That boy bad. Like you can't. He can get outside the pocket and create with his feet, unlike Burrows. So
it may get ugly soon with Daniels coming. If they play that same type of defense, it may get ugly early.
See, Daniels is the example of why I don't be accepting mid at quarterback. Like Jay, do y'all see how elite that kid is, bro?
Yeah, he's tough.
He's special.
In 5 games, I mean, God, like, bro, he got
the
Commanders on 1.
We said he was the top pick on here.
Shoot,
we ain't drinking Caleb Kool-Aid respectfully.
Caleb playing better.
He had a good game yesterday.
He looked better. He played the
Panthers.
Yeah, he played the Panthers, but he looked a lot better.
He got a 3-2 team compared to Jaden's 4-1. So those two rookies are. Hey, Patriots might have to start having conversations at this point. But that's a different combo.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks, y'all quarterback, Mr. 2-time, is he on his way to a 3rd MVP?
I mean, it's going to depend on the team success. I mean, I think Lamar's going to continue to play at this level. I think he's seeing the field differently. I think he's evolved as a player. As long as he got protection, he's a great passer. So it's going to really depend on team success. But I don't see why not. His stats this year are better than his stats through the first 5 games last year. So I don't see why he wouldn't. I think it's going to come down to the team success, what the team do. But he's going to keep playing at this level. He's playing at an amazing level right now.
I think he deserved it last year, but the way he's playing this year, he deserves it more through 5 games than he deserved it last year, if that makes sense. Like, the defense isn't the same type of defense. You can't say the O-line is the same type of O-line that he had. Honestly, I think he had more weapons last year. and he's playing just more confident. It's just something about him post that contract where he's just able to just be more relaxed. He like people don't notice stuff like this, but he comes out with and wears his fronts when he plays football now. Like before, he was company man. And now he gets to let some of that stuff go and just be himself. And look at how he interacts with his teammates nowadays. When they do something wrong, he gets in their stuff about it. And it's not in a bad way. It's leadership. He's found his voice. And $185 million, that'll help you find your voice. If I was quiet before, I ain't quiet now, homie. You know what I mean? But it's helping the team. I bring that up to say it's helping the team. He's keeping people more accountable. He's playing more confident and more assured of himself. And I've never seen him play quarterback like this. So if he's won it before, he has a pretty compelling case through 5 games right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Lamar feeling power, and as he should. And I think that loss last year at home to Kansas City, I think that dwelling on that over the offseason, you can tell the way he's come out. Like even it was one play yesterday, they needed a first down. What did he do? Put his foot in the ground and got it. Like he's just got a different determination to him. Even calling Harbaugh out after the Dallas game and monkey, we got to be more aggressive. It was a time where people said if the Ravens was down 10, 14 points, what was they going to do? Run their way into the game? What did Lamar do yesterday? He threw a win. He threw the Ravens into the game yesterday with his arm. So I think the only thing stopping him from a potential 3-time MVP is voter fatigue. Like they didn't see him do it over and over, and it's like it's somebody else's turn. You know how that go. But outside of that, I mean, he probably arguably got the player of the year, and I don't know what could top that at this point because
he's making a player of the year play every week,
every year. Yo, even the head fake early in the game. Where he threw the incomplete pass, but he threw the head fake, and the 2 defenders went running north, and he was going the other way.
Yep,
threw it out of bounds. Like that's a sack. Highlight plays on incomplete passes. He tough.
And it's before we wrap up because we got Steelers football to talk, but just thinking about through 5 weeks, who would be like my top 3 or top 4? No order. I'm thinking we got Lamar in there. I'm going to say 2 names that might sound disgusting, but like Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, I think you got to put them in conversations just because of how they're playing football right now. Jared Goff, I think he had a game. He had an incompletion.
We talked about that last week. He had a perfect game.
It's insane. And Baker Mayfield is down there doing amazing things right now, and things that nobody thought a Todd Bowles team post Tom Brady would be doing the last couple of years. So you got to give him his respect there. And then also Jaden Daniels. I got to 4-1 the way he's playing, and it ain't just a phony 4-1. Like he out there making plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree. The quarterback play from your usual top 5 or whatever you want to say. It ain't really MVP worthy right now. They may turn it up. It's still early, but for right now, as Mike Tomlin would say, Lamar has pole position.
So what was your thoughts on the game yesterday?
I mean, I'm not
as far as from an AFC North perspective.
Bengals
should
have won.
No.
Like, what's your thoughts on us and the Bengals from yesterday?
Stomping on the Bengals is cool. Give them I want them out the way.
They've owned y'all over the last couple of years.
Say let's go. Let's work together on the Bengals.
You're gonna ask me what I want and then say they own.
No, my bad. You're right.
Well, guess what? You always bring me to this. Who owns you? You won't answer that. You look down at your sheet.
15. Mahomes.
No. This is North talk. No. This is North talk. You done beat him more than you beat us.
Talk your shit, Skull. Fight back.
The fuck?
Purple hoodie.
But no, I'm not one of them guys that disrespect Lamar on his arm. He's been able to throw for a while now. I saw that Colts game. What was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I saw that Colts game. 3, like that was because Devontae ain't even in the league no more. So yeah, so I saw that game. I know what he can do. Y'all just gotta let him do it. The thing with him, and this is in the future, I know what he is in the regular season. Like he has to be that in the playoffs. Like if you get down 10 if you get down 10 in the playoffs, can he do this? That'll shut everybody up. Like, I was thinking about this at work, like, just to myself, like, if right now he's on y'all Mount Rushmore of Ravens, period. The only thing that's stopping him is the ring. But talent-wise, what he can do, like, when I saw that play when he going out of bounds, I just felt bad for the defense. Like, yo, what the fuck are you supposed to do with that, yo? What are you supposed to do with that? They did everything right.
We really
when they let him throw the ball, he spread the ball out. 9 different receivers with the reception yesterday.
One of these days, he's in his 7th season. One of these days, we're gonna be talking about where does he rank all time. He got to win. He got to win.
Yeah, we started this show with
the only thing that stopped him from being there is that ring.
And I think at this point,
and even after with no ring and 2 MVPs,
I'm thinking at this point,
you got to top 10 his ass, something, top 15, something.
Even if he don't, just with the eye test, what he's able to do and how he came in the league,
we're gonna get him a ring.
Yeah. I hope not.
I forgot. I thought you was wearing purple. I thought we was together.
Chill. This is a Nike hoodie.
Forgot.
This is Nike.
Big ass Steelers background in the back.
Yeah, never forget. But speaking of big ass Steelers in the background, let's go to commercial break and it's my turn.
When I want some sports news, Nitty Gritty is definitely who I'm tuning into, man. They show up each week with that uncut, that raw, that unfiltered sports news.
They say the things that everyone else wishes that they can say, but they can't.
Every Tuesday and Saturday, I am locked into my favorite sports show, Nitty Gritty.
Nitty Gritty, the best show out right now. Tune in and listen, stupid.